A question that comes up repeatedly on the Oracle forums and elsewhere is, how can I connect old software to a new database? Now, this is all about the interoperability of different versions of SQLnet and the various protocols used for establishing a session. And it's often of critical importance when planning upgrades. If just one application out of dozens cannot talk to the new database, the whole upgrade project will be stuck. Only last week I had to deal with the problem on these lines. We upgraded the database from 11 to 19, no problem, but during testing it turned out that the release of IBM's Cognos BI tool no longer worked. IBM told the client to upgrade Cognos, but in the middle of an already complicated project, that was not going to happen. And it isn't just Cognos. The problem comes up with any number of other clients. It also impacts on database links between databases of different releases. Another problem, which is the one I'm going to demonstrate, is this little icon here. The old GUI version of SQL Plus for Windows. Many people like using it, and they were mightily annoyed when the GUI SQL Plus disappeared in release 11G. So they keep running an old Oracle client on their PCs just to get this. Well, it works up to release 12.1, but not from then onwards. Now, if you follow the advice from Uncle Oracle, you will end up here. A famous article, Client-Server Interoperability Support Matrix for different Oracle versions. This describes in great detail the client and server releases that can interoperate. And at the bottom, there's this very nice matrix that tells you the whole story. So what this is saying, to take my SQL Plus W example, is that if your client is release 10.2, the latest database you can connect to is 12.1. You can't use SQL Plus W to connect to 12.2 or anything newer. Similarly, with database links. If your database on one side is 19C, you can create database links to an 11.2 database, but not to 11.1 or anything older. And the fact that these connections, such as from 10.2 client to 19C, are not supported, means people will tell you that they won't work. That, however, is not true at all. So, let's demonstrate the problem. I launch the 10G SQL Plus GUI, attempt to connect Scott, password Tiger, host string ORCLZ, and that's going to a 19.3 database. Attempt to connect, it doesn't work. I get an Aura 28040, no matching authentication protocol. Why do I get that? Because of this. Select password versions from DBA users where username equals Scott. And we see that the password verifiers exist only for versions 11G and 12C. And that's why this database is rejecting the attempted logon from a 10G client. To change that, I need to edit the server's SQLnet.aura file. I'm going to add 2 lines. SQLnet allowed logon version client equals 8, SQLnet allowed logon version server equals 8. I'm adding both lines to allow for the case where the database is acting as a server to a remote client, and also where it will be acting as a client if it were a database link, using a database link to a remote database. I've set the version to 8 because that is as far back as you can go. Save that. Go back into the database, and I have to adjust the password verifiers for my user Scott. To do that, simply reset his password. Alter user Scott, identified by Tiger. And now we've got a 10G verifier as well. So, let's see if it works. Launch the SQL Plus GUI again. Username Scott, password Tiger, host string ORCLZ. OK, that. And there we are, straight in. The 10.2 client connecting to a 19C database. So, don't let anyone tell you that old clients can't talk to new databases.